women in archival institutions and steps taken to overcome this deficiency, as well as what can be done to expand and develop archival centers that contain primary sources about women and to save the women's documentary heritage. Aslı Davaz is a researcher, writer, and women's history archivist and co-founder of the Women's Library and Information Center Foundation in Istanbul. She studied French language and literature at University of Paris A. She is one of the few researchers who specializes in women's archiving in Turkey, and for many years, she carried out research studies on this subject. She has spent much of the past 30 years engaging in efforts aimed toward the acquisition, preservation, and dissemination of documents related to women's history, and she has been working in many projects regarding women-centered archives and the memory of the women history. She has especially worked on collection building for the periodical collection, the Women's Organization collection, and the private archive collection. She has written articles on women-centered libraries and archives and participated in many workshops, conferences, and symposia related to this subject. She published 3 books. She currently works on women's history and women-centered archives and serves as the general board member of the foundation. She carried out her work as an executive committee member of the foundation. She also served as the president of the executive committee in various years. Please enjoy today's lecture, an example of alternative archiving in Turkey, the Women's Library and Information Center Foundation. Aslı, you are on the floor.
Yes, thank you. Hello to everybody. Now, before starting, I would like to share with you a very short 1-minute video to have an overview of the library. Yes, so that was a short introduction about the library. So the Women's Library and Information Center Foundation actually is the first and only women-centered library and archive in Turkey. It was founded in Istanbul and opened to the public on the 14th of April 1990. At that time, the women's movement in Turkey had already gathered a well of documents related to the struggle for women's rights. These documents concerned issues such as equal pay for equal work, equality in civil rights, ending all kinds of violence against women, and achieving equal representation in parliament. So the archive and the library preserves and documents the data of this struggle from the Ottoman Empire to the present day and provide the infrastructure of alternative historiography for the future generations. The Women's Library and Information Center Foundation has collected, digitalized, and cataloged resources for women's history for the last 30 years, actually 32 years. From these sources, it has produced new publications, acquired, arranged, and disseminated rare and original documents, preserved its archive collection for the future, and in this regard, served different fields and disciplines for research. Before starting a brief outline of the collection, I would like to share with you some photographs about the outside and inside of the library. So, yes, so this is the building of the library. It is a building from the Byzantine time, which have been restored by the Greater City Council of Istanbul, which has been allocated to our foundation for the last 32 years. And this is also the entrance where we organize cultural activities. And this is a view from the library in the springtime. So this is the entrance. And this is where the archives, the private papers are kept. Yes, this is another view of the inside. These are women's writer and women's artist collection kept there. These are the publication of the library. We published 53 books regarding the sources of women history. And the one here, the green, the blue, and the red, are Ottoman periodicals transliterated in new letters. Yes, this is the books collection, periodicals. This is where we work on posters. We have many works of art also on the walls. This is our main working area, working on visual archive, visual photographs. Also Ottoman periodicals here. This is a very famous sculpture. This is a donation from her son to the library. This is the main reading room. Now, to have a brief outline of the collection, so we have the library has a book collection and comprise mainly studies on gender issues, women's writing, and the translation of the classics of feminism in Turkish. So here we have some book covers as an example of this collection. Then we have the periodical collections. I will not show you all the collection, but some of them. So this is the periodical collections. And it has around 11,000 issue of 500 women's periodicals published between 1869 and up to today. So these periodicals of the late Ottoman era and the Republican period These are three examples of these women's periodicals. And here we have some different periodicals. On the left is the 50. It's the Chaos Galley. It's a gay journal. And the one here is a feminist journal. So then we have the ephemera collection. And in this ephemera collection consists of 200 archival books, especially on contemporary material on women's issues. For example, it holds the original of Signatures campaign and a wide range of material on the activities of women for the International Women's Day in Turkey. We have also a thesis and a dissertation focusing on gender issue. We have around 800 MA and PhD dissertation on this subject, and we have around 7,000 articles written in Turkish and other languages on gender issues. So the newspaper clipping collection also, this is the newspaper clipping collection, contains articles, interview and clipping from most of the Turkish daily newspaper published since the 90s. And these newspaper clipping collections are classified under subject headings such as violence against women, women and religion, education, immigration, women's rights, feminism, women and art. So now this newspaper clipping collection is very much used by researchers. We have also an audiovisual collection with photographs, posters, video recordings, slides, documentaries and film produced by and about women. The Woman Artist collection is the collection holds around 1,000 woman artists biographical dossier and an art collection created through the donation of women's artists. It is a very large collection about the production of women's artists in Turkey. Another important collection is the women's organization collection. So in this collection, in the women's organization collection, it is really the only one in Turkey which preserve all document issues by women's organization through their struggle. We have also a women's writer collection which holds information on around 800 women's rights. And then we have what we call our archive center, really. We have also the rare material. This maybe is an interesting on the left-hand side. You can see some stamps issued by the Turkish government in 1935 for the 12th Congress of the International Alliance of Women, for the 12th Congress, which was held in Istanbul in April 35. Through the selling of these stamps, the Alliance collected quite an important amount of money for its struggle for the suffrage movement. The visual collection also contains a lot of postcards and photographs. The posters collection. And we come to one of the most important collection of the Women's Library, and these are women's private paper collection. This is a totally different section from the library. And here I would like to share with you 6 examples of the private papers. So, for example, Hasene Ilgaz was the first woman who donated her private papers to the library. And she was an educator, politician, MP, and activist. And her private papers has 336-meter shelf length and holds almost 3,000 documents. And of course, all these documents are digitized and cataloged. And some of them are now on open access. So what kind of documents can we find in the private papers? Her articles, her speeches, her personal data, her awards, letters, telegrams, and many private, postcards. And so now I would like to present you a document kept in this collection. It is some handwritten by Hasene Ilgaz. Of course, regarding the change of the alphabet, you will see many in Ottoman writing and some in the Latin letters. So these also are noted by Hasene Ilgaz. And draft, it's a draft law on nursing and the history of the World Nurse Association. As she was an MP, she proposed many draft law. This is also her school where she was a teacher. And here we have Müfide İlhan Private Archive. Müfide İlhan was the first provincial woman mayor. She was elected in 1952 as Mersin mayor, a politician and a teacher. And her private paper holds around 1,000 documents. Many photographs, letters, greeting cards, passports, family photo, notebooks, and handwriting notes can be found in this archive. So here we have here notes on kindergarten children and a photograph taken during a speech that she made in Antakya, near Mersin. Also a petition written by Müfide İlhan. And handwritten notes on the number of women's MP between 35 and 69. Here also giving a speech in the crowd. This is Necile Tevfik private paper. Actually, I wrote an annotated catalog on Necile Tevfik private papers. Maybe it's quite interesting maybe to underline the fact that she was the first screenwriter in Turkey who sold her scenario to Hollywood in 1928, so quite early. So she was a screenwriter, story writer, translator, and an activist. It is one of the smallest private archive kept in the library, but the information that I found in these 130 documents is immense. I mean, because of course, the annotated catalog, I went through all these documents quite in depth. And here we have her scenario, her letters. We have also her stories. She had 2 sisters, and we have the poems, all the poems of the 2 sisters. Maybe you heard about Rosa Manus. Rosa Manus was a suffragist, a pacifist, and one of the founders of the Women's Archive in Amsterdam in the 30s. But in 1943, when the Nazis invaded Holland, they took all the documents, all the collections and archive to Germany. And then, this is a very long story, and Rosa Manus was a friend, I mean, they became friends during the 35 Congress. And this is a letter of Rosa Manus to Necile Tevfik in July 35. This is some drawing about the delegates in the Istanbul Congress. And this is also a summary of a movie scenario written by Necile Tevfik entitled Warsaw or the Revolution of 1862. This is not the scenario she sold to Hollywood. And this is a program of a peace meeting at the University of Istanbul in April 35. And we have also now quite a small, maybe smaller than Necile Tevfik archive, only 23 documents, but they are very precious. It is one of the first nurse in Turkey, Safiye Hüseyin Elbi. So you have just a few documents. You have her passport, and on the passport, maybe it is difficult now to read it. You have the permission of her father to travel. It is written on the passport. And this is also a letter from the Nurse Association. You have here a letter written by Safiye Hüseyin, and this is her photography. Süreyya Ağoğlu was one of the first woman lawyer in Turkey, and she was also a politician and an activist. Her archive is the largest archive of the library. As you can see, it has 8 meters shelves length and holds around 9,000 documents. You have her correspondence, you have many photographs, her diaries, her speeches. And this is a handwritten by Süreyya Ağoğlu. This is also a handwritten note by her. This is the old writing note by Süreyya Ağoğlu also. And this is a photograph of her in her young days. And this is also another photograph. And the last one I wanted to share with you is Şirin Tekeli, a private archive, academician and activist. You can see her here during a speech. And Şirin Tekeli is also one of the founder of the Women's Library and Information Center Foundation. And she passed away in 2017. And before her passing away, she donated her archive to the library. And it is also an important private archive regarding the contemporary feminist movement in Turkey. So this is also a very precious primary sources. You have letters, photos, invitation, leaflets, flyers, brochures, and you have also handwritten notes about the activities of Women NGO in Vienna, and handwritten regarding the amendment of the Civil Code. and written also by her about the Union of Turkish Women. And this is a photograph of her taken in the library. Shirin loved very much the cats, and we had a cats in the library for some times, but we had to separate from the cats because the readers, some readers were not very happy with the cats in the library. So now I would like to present you some highlights from the collections. The first one I would like to present is Hanımlara Mahsus Gazete, which is a newspaper for ladies. Newspaper for ladies printed between 1895 and 1908. It is an original binding, and it has 612 issues retracing many aspects of the life and the aspiration of the late Ottoman woman. And it is a total of more than 3,000 pages. And I would like to inform you that we have transliterated the first 25 issues of this journal, and the 2 volumes will be published, I think, in 1 or 2 weeks. The second one is hygiene. It is quite a rare document. It means an Armenian woman. And it is an Armenian woman's periodical published between 1919 and 1933 by the Armenian feminist writer and journalist Hayganush Mark. We have not all the issues, but quite an important amount of issues about hygiene. The art collection of the Women's Library holds painting and sculpture by Turkish women's artists, as on the left, Aliye Berger, Füreyya Koral, and Gülsüm Kara Mustafa. This work of art covers a period between 1951 up to today. A rich collection of posters include also, and this is a very rare document, maybe, I am not sure, but maybe it is a unique document. It is a lithograph from the period of the Turkish War of Independence, calling women to join the Liberation Army Corps, and in that sense reflects many aspects of women history in Turkey. As we are in an international meeting, I wanted also to underline through some examples the collection historical significance to the international women's history also. So what do we keep in the library regarding the international women's history? So an important document among many others is Kadınlar Dünyası. Kadınlar Dünyası means women's world, and it is maybe the only one, or it is an Ottoman feminist periodicals, and they wanted to be connected with the international women's history, and especially with the suffragist movement in the United States and in Europe. So they published 8 issues of this journal entirely in French, partly to inform the foreign press of the situation of the struggle and the claims of the Ottoman woman, and partly to create also a dialogue with their European counterparts. Another interesting documents I would like to present is Müeyyet Selim's diaries. You can see here one of the page of this diary. It is handwritten by Müeyyet Selim, and every pages has a drawing like that. This diary also served as a important source for a thesis entitled "The World of Müeyyet Selim." The thesis focused on the life and the thought of Müeyyet Selim, an Albanian woman who migrated from Macedonia to Istanbul through the 1923 population exchange treaty between Greece and Turkey. So the research is based on Müeyyet Selim diaries, which are part of her private paper, also preserved in the foundation. And you can find a lot of information about Albanian Muslim women and their struggle. The third one is Türk Kadın Yolu. Türk Kadın Yolu means the Turkish woman's path, and was published between 25 and 27. It is the official journal of the Union of Turkish Women, and the last women's periodical published in Ottoman script, and is the only journal also of the first wave feminist movement in Turkey, and it has a close relation to the international women's movement in the 20s and the 30s, because a section of this journal entitled World's Woman Post published writing and correspondence between Turkish feminists and their Western counterparts. Many important letters, such as those of Emily Faber-Reader, Marjorie Corbin Ashby, Catherine Bompas in 25 and 26, addressed to the Union of Turkish Women and to Nezihe Muhittin, the president of the Union at that time, were published in this journal, with commentary and information about the activities of the international suffrage movement, the International Alliance of Women, and their long-lasting relation with early feminists in Turkey. Another significant document related to the international women's movement is the notebook of Ed Medecock, who reported on the 12th Congress of the International Women's Alliance in Istanbul in 1935 as a young journalist. Her mother was Greek and her father Croatian, and she probably came to Istanbul in the 20s as an English teacher. She kept a notebook during an excursion on the Bosphorus by the delegate of the Congress. Delegates from 29 countries participating in the excursion and wrote appreciation notes on the Congress, sometimes a poem For example, the Egyptian feminist Huda Sharawi wrote a poem on this notebook, or they wrote a sentence expressing their emotion about being in a country where all women could vote and be elected. Of course, you have their emotion through the beauty of the Bosphorus, but most of the text they wrote on this notebook is about their astonishment of all women in Turkey who could vote and be elected. So among these women were Huda Sharawi, Rosa Manus, German Adele Schreber-Piger, and Germaine Malater-Sellier, a French lawyer who also came to Istanbul. So before that, how many minutes do we have? Asuman?
We are doing well, Aslanım.
Okay.
You can continue maybe 10 minutes more.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
okay, yeah. So I wanted to have some reflection on the issue and the complexity surrounding gender and archiving in the collections. So when defining the issues surrounding gender and archiving in the collection of the Women's Library, we have to underline that the Women's Archive movement is at the beginning of his historical process. Although individual efforts to preserve the private papers and organizational documents started long ago, a systematic preservation movement began only 32 years ago with the foundation of the Women's Library in Istanbul. It is important to keep in mind that the donation of private archive by women is rather a new concept in Turkey. And the donation of documents and of private paper before passing away is particularly rare. However, we have many exceptions, not only at the Women's Library, but in other institutions also. For example, I have quite a lot of information about this, but I will have to shorten this section because we have only a few minutes left. But I would just want to underline that a well-known archaeologist, Halet Çamber, donated her archive to Boğaziçi University. And also a writer, Adalet Ağaoğlu. But what I would like to underline is that now, with the foundation of the Women's Library, many women are donating their private paper during their lifetime. And this is very important because the cataloging and of private archive with the when their creators are still alive, it is the catalogs are totally different with their creators. So now I have, passed the session. So I just would like to show you, so as a last word, maybe, as a last word. So the library, is, to enrich all besides all the collection we showed, the library wants also to enrich the archival record of underdocumented social groups, such as LGBT groups and minority women. So a few years ago, the Women's Library started a new program of acquisition for this purpose. And under the same name, we collected documents issued by young feminist activists. And we have obtained from them social media content, web-based document, ephemeral material issued by the protest movements. So I would like to show you, as the last word, the documents of this initiative through NAR Kadın Dayanışma Ağı, NAR Women Solidarity Network, which was founded in 2014. And it will be interesting as a graphical and visual point of view to see the difference between the document we saw just before. So shortly, I would like to show you. These are issued by NAR Kadın Dayanışma. And it's all in Turkish, of course, but still I think you can see that. So if we have a little bit of time, I would like to underline as a last word, this is my third last word, that we have very, very important cultural activities in the library since the last 30 years, hundreds of cultural activities. And I would like to show you very quickly some photographs. I would like to share with you some photographs. I will go quite quickly. We have symposia, conferences, seminars. And this is, for example, a Wikipedia and gender. They did for the last 2 years their meeting in the library. This is a women's theater group. I cannot explain all the contents, but it gives you, an idea about the activities we carried out as cultural, women-centered, of course, cultural activities in the library. This is very smart. And we have also concerts by women artists also. And this is a group of flamenco conference. So, yes, so that was really the last word. Thank you.
Thank you, Aslı, for this great presentation. We learned many different aspects of the women's history in late Ottoman and the modern Turkey. Thank you very much for your presentation. Right now we can start the questions and answer section. And if you have a comment, if you have a question, please send over the chat. Right now I see of course, meanwhile we received a lot of the great reactions to your visuals for collections, even cats. So also I see in here İclal Mansenbek. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. And she says, Hanımlara Mahsus Gazete also published Nigar Binti Osman's Niran in 1312. The translation project is commendable too. I have one volume and it's very well done. And this is a note. And we have also another question. How are you storing the born digital collections, social media posts, etc., from the more recent collecting initiatives?
Yes. If I understand well, the question is about born digital document, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yes. So I didn't present you the born digital collection because it is a new collection. We have started a project about it, and we have collected many born digital documents from the feminist movement. And I would have liked to show you all the born digital documents that we collected last year. And I hope that in 22, the latest, at the end of 22, we will be able to open also this collection online.
Great. Also, I have a question about your funding. How do you get, the financial resources to support this great initiative?
As all alternative institutions, not only in Turkey, but all over the world, especially when these institutions are women's institutions, they all have, a common problem, which is funding.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a universal problem. And we, of course, as an alternative institution, we have all the time, a funding problem. So how do we do that? Usually, first of all, we have members and they have, we have donation from institution of members or individuals, but the main income is that we are organizing project and we have funding. For example, this year we had a funding from the Swedish General Council in Istanbul. We had this project of open access project. We have been founded by the Global Fund for Women, and we have been founded also by newspaper, by businesswomen. It is a wide range of sponsors that we have.
Thank you, Aslı. And we have questions about how to do research, but she starts emeğinize sağlık. And how can I use the collection? Can I do research inside the archive building? Do I have to make an appointment? Do I need special permission, etc.? And is online research possible?
Yes, online research. Actually, everything changed. Many conditions has changed with the pandemic. So for the last 3 years, all of us actually had to adapt new methods of research, new methods of meeting, and new methods of access to documents. So for the last 3 years, because also of the pandemic condition, we digitalized quite a lot of documents. So you don't need special permission. You can access by coming to the library. You don't need an appointment. And you need also permission. The only permission you need is to publish the document. We have an agreement, and you read the agreement, and you sign the agreement to use and to publish the documents. And otherwise, as I said, in 21, we open accessed thousands of documents. So it is possible to do research through this new online system.
Okay. We have another one. Are you collecting any of the papers of young climate activists? For example, there's a young woman named Deniz Çavukuş, who's international known.
Okay, I have to say that no, because I don't know this activist, and maybe we have something in the library, but personally, I can't answer the question.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Aslı. Great job. My question is, what language or languages did you translate some of your published materials? Do you include a copy of the original with the printed translated copy?
Yes, that's a very good question, because it is exactly what we wanted to do. For the transliteration program, we wanted to have, as many translation project does it, on the left page you have the original, and on the right page you have the transliteration or the translation. But it was too expensive to do it like that. So you only have the transliteration published.
Thank you. This is all questions we have so far. And maybe I can add another. Oh, we have another one. How many librarians, archivists work in the library?
Yes. So we are 4, 5, and 6 librarian and archivists, but we have also a group of volunteer like us, and we have also a group of transliteration. The group is formed by 34 transliterators. It is a very large group, but mainly every day in the library, which I think the question is, six librarian and archivists. Yes.
Yeah, I think you are doing a great job because from my experiences, as far as I know, many of the collections are not complete, right? I mean, sometimes you go, the different archives and complete, those serials, especially. It's quite a tough job. Yeah. Okay, we have another one. I apologize if you have already covered this. Do you collect contemporary women composers' work? I am doing research on women and music, and for my period, I'm having a difficult time, so it would be great legacy. Thank you.
Yes, music is a very important, very important subject. And we had with a woman's music historian, we had 2 important meetings at the library, and we planned to open a collection, but we realized that another institution working in music, İstanbul Üniversitesi, İstanbul Teknik Üniversitesi, has a library specialized on music, and you can find women's composer partition and some private archive of them in this institution. So what we do, as we cannot keep all records about women, what do we do when researchers looks for women in music, women's composer, their partitions, we advise them to go to this specialized library in Istanbul.
Thank you, Aslı. And we receive also, some messages. Thank you for the lovely presentation. What a wonderful collection and terrific resource. And again, thank you for this very informative presentation. And I think we have one more question. I think I should, ask that one too. Do you work with groups like Turkish Win to collect the papers of Turkish businesswomen? Turkish Win to collect. Win, what do you mean? I didn't understand. If you please explain to us what Win stands for. Karen? It's about, I think, business related term. Okay. Oh, I can't unmute. So, okay. Can we unmute you, Karen? I think she wants to ask her question herself.
Yeah. I just invited you to
can you
unmute,
hear me?
Karen. Yeah.
It's just a very active local business network of women, really active, happening ladies.
I think Women International Network.
Yeah, I think that's what it's short for.
Okay. Aslı, do you have work related to Women International Network? Collecting papers of Turkish businesswomen?
Turkish businesswoman. Up to today, no, we don't have private papers or Yes, there are association of businesswomen, and we have information in the ephemeral collection or in the women's organization collection, like Businesswoman Association. Yes, we have that. And what was the second part of the question? Sorry.
The collecting, do you work with groups like Turkish Win, I mean Women International Network, to collect papers of Turkish businesswomen?
No. Yes, no. We just collect Turkish businesswomen only in Turkey. No, we don't have a network like that. No.
Mm-hmm.
We have a network, but it is not, maybe you will be interested to know that we have a network with women's libraries and archive centers all over the world. We have our international relations are quite alive, and we organized in '91 the first international meeting of.
Aslı, we lost your sound. We couldn't hear you. The last sentence, we couldn't hear you. It's kind of, breaking your sound. Would you? Yeah, it's good right now.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yes. So the first one, we organized it in Istanbul in '91. And the second one was organized by Patricia Miller King, who was, because she passed away, she was a specialist of woman-centered library.
Aslı, excuse me. Again, I'm losing your sound. We are losing your sound. It's not very good. I think we have a connection problem. No. Would you try again? Maybe. Unfortunately, sound is kind of breaking.
Possibly if you turn off your video, Aslı, sometimes that helps with sound.
My video also, or just Aslı's?
Just Aslı's.
Aslı, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Yes, it happens.
Okay, we'll try. We'll try now.
Okay. Thank you all for your patience. I think she's trying to reconnect. And maybe.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So the second conference was organized. I'm not opening the camera because I am afraid that the voice will go again.
Okay.
So the second conference was organized by the Schlesinger Library on the history of American women, and the third one was organized in Amsterdam, in Mexico. So we are in the network of women's libraries and archives.
Aslı, thank you very much. I think we should wrap it up. And thanks so much, everyone, for coming, and to Aslı for that fabulous talk and discussion. I do hope you can join us again. We intend to host one speaker each month for the rest of the academic year, and more details will be available on MELA's blog. We will host 2 lectures next month, and our next speakers will be Diana Abulali from the Arab American Heritage Museum on the 11th of April, and Randa Shidiak on the 22nd of the April. Thank you very much again.
I would like to thank you also in the name of the Women's Library in Istanbul for inviting us, listening to us, and showing us such a nice interest for our work. Okay.
Of course, it was a great presentation and we enjoyed all. Thank you very much, Aslı.
Bye.
Thank you, bye, everyone.